All right, so in this video, we're going to walk through how we create IAM accounts underneath our Amazon account. So again, when you first create an AWS account and you sign up for AWS, you get one account, you log in with your email address. That's typically referred to as the root account. That account has access to everything, right? So there's no limits to what you can do. Obviously, if you are concerned about locking down certain resources within your account, there's definitely ways to do that. That's what IAM is geared towards. So it's a good practice whenever you first start using AWS is to create accounts that have more limited rights, so that you're not opening up everything to everyone. So you only give folks what they need to have access to. So again, we're going to try to do that. So here we are on as the root account, okay? And I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to go over to IAM. So I'm going to search for IAM, and that's going to bring me to the little dashboard here where I can see all of my users and additional groups that I've created, roles, and other things related to security. So we're going to go here and we're going to select users. And I already have one account. That's the one that I use for my purposes. So I'm going to create a new user here, and I'm going to call this S3 developer. And we'll assume that this person, we only want them to have access to S3 buckets, but they won't have access to do other things like create EC2 instances and other types of resources, cloud formation, other things, right? We're going to limit them to just being able to access S3 buckets. We want them to have access to be able to make programmatic calls. So we want to check that box, and that'll allow us to generate access keys and a secret key that all of the APIs need to have in order to access resources. So we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go ahead and also allow this person to log into the management console. So it is possible to create accounts where a person can't do anything other than access the APIs. They don't even have access to login. They don't even have access to log into the console. But we'll go ahead and allow this user the ability to get into the console. I'm going to go ahead and create a custom password. Okay, and I will not require them to reset the password. Go to permissions, and we can leave all this the same for right now. We're not going to add any tags or review everything, and now we have created that user. Okay, so now this screen is important because you need to make sure that if you're going to give someone access to make API calls, that you download the access key and secret key that will be needed for those API calls. This is the only time you'll be able to do this once you create an account. Now, again, if you miss this step or you lose these keys, you can obviously just regenerate them. But here you have a button here to download the CSV file. That's our credentials. Okay, so I can see those credentials in my download folder and be able to then save it to a different location that I can remember it. All right, click close here. Now I have my user. The next step is to go and let's create a group, and privileges are assigned to groups. So that's kind of how we generally set up security. So we create groups that are unique, have unique privileges, and then we assign users into those groups. So let's go ahead and create a new group, and I'm going to call this one S3 full access. So we're going to give anybody who has been assigned to this group has access to S3 buckets. So we're going to do that, and we'll come in here, and these are all the different policies. There are lots of policies. You can create your own policies if you wish. For right now, we're just going to use one of the built-in ones. So if I type in S3 full access, there's a privilege. All right, so this will now allow whoever's assigned to this group access to all S3 resources. Let's go ahead and create the group. All right, so there's my group. I'm going to go ahead and select the group, and now I need to add my user that I just created into that group. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that. Now that I've got my user, let's log off from the root account, and let's go ahead and log back in again, this time as our S3 user. We're going to go ahead and select this as an IAM user we're logging in as. We're not logging in as a root user. The account is going to be unique to for you. So every Amazon account has a unique ID, So it's going to paste mine in there. I'm going to click next, and I'm going to put in my IAM user I created, which was S3 developer. And I'm going to type in the password. All right, now I am in as my S3 developer account underneath my specific AWS account. So I have limited privileges. So even though you have all of these privileges here underneath the console that you have technically potentially access to, this particular account can't access that, and we'll try that. Let's go ahead and see if we can create an EC2 instance. Let's try that. And here you go. I don't have access. Performance operation. Let's try to create one. Let's pick one. There you go again. All right, I don't have access to do that. Right, so clearly we're limiting access to this account, so they cannot create EC2 instances. But what they can do is, if I open up the S3 console, I can create a bucket here, and I'm gonna call it test1 S3 developer, and click next, and we'll just pick the defaults here. Let's see if we can create a bucket. And there it is. There's the bucket I just created, and that's not empty. Let's go ahead and see if we can drop a file up there. So I'll just take a file and see if I can drop it on there. And I'm just going to pick an image from my workstation here. And go ahead and say next. Let's pick up the defaults for right now. And there it is. So there is, I have a bucket. I was able to do that. I was actually able to even upload I don't have access web access, which by default is turned off for S3 buckets. But the bucket was created, and I actually do have the image there. I can actually download it. So just to kind of prove that it's there, but it's working. So clearly this account has access to S3 resources, but again, would not have access to do anything other than that. Okay, so there you go, demonstration of how you can create your own accounts. Again, really good idea to do that. Create accounts with limited privileges to just what's needed for that person to do their job.